Okay, let's talk about a TV show for a change. Being Erica. What's it about? Uh, well, imagine the TV show in treatment if it involved time traveling. Sounds like a weird combination, but if you think about it, it really isn't. You see, when you go into therapy, you already kind of have to relive moments of your past. You talk about some things which you regret, or you talk about what your life might have been like if you made different choices, etc., and so forth. Now, being Erica allows the eponymous character Erica to mentally, mind you, mentally, not physically, travel through time so she can quite literally relive moments of her life. It's interesting to think about, especially if you know how therapy usually works, or is supposed to work, rather. I mean, so she relives certain moments of her past, not necessarily with the idea of changing them, although it's never fully explained why they're not allowed to change anything. But, actually, the fact that the show explains very little is one of the problems with it, but we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, as I was saying, so she is allowed to relive certain moments of her past and, well, help her understand some things better, like why were people acting the way they did back then, why were they treating her the way they did, or who was really the bad guy, she or somebody else. Like I said, it helps her learn to understand some things better, which I think is what therapy is really about. In many ways, I think what happens in this show is every therapist, or everyone who goes into therapy, every patient's dream. But, as I mentioned earlier, one problem with this show is that it doesn't really explain a whole lot. Like, how does this whole time-traveling thing work? Like, how do you... all your memories, experiences, and your very being, how do you transport that from the present day onto your younger self? Or for that matter, it doesn't even always happen. It even happens that she doesn't just travel from her present day self to her younger self, but also to other people. Like at some point she was inside the head of one of her parents' best friend. At a point in time before she was even born. At another point she was inside the head of her own best friend. And another thing that's never quite explained is what happens. That is to say, suppose you are mentally sent back to your own past, you relive a certain moment, or you do some things differently, whatever. But of course, your being there, mentally, is only temporarily. So when you go back to the present, what happens to your younger self? I mean, what memories does he or she have of what you did while you were inside their head? Yeah, I know, it sounds a bit fake what I'm saying, but it makes more sense. Okay, actually, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but anyway, if you watch the show, you'll understand what I mean a little better. And then there are some lessons that they've learned which I think are a bit unfair. You see, again, as I mentioned earlier, they're not allowed to change the past. But the best way they can have Erica learn that lesson is by, well, she changes a certain moment in her past, which drastically alters her present day. to a point that she's completely unfamiliar with the present day. In which case, the only reason why she would want to things to be the way they were before is because she's not familiar with the present day. Like I said, it's just not fair. I mean, since they have the capacity to travel through time, why not allow her to live through some of the key moments of her, well, new past, so she would be familiar with the new present day. Ah, well. If you think Doctor Who has gotten a little over the top ever since Stephen Moffat took over, I think being Erica might be a good way for you to take a break from Doctor Who.